Over to the Middle East now, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced on Wednesday that the military is intensifying its offensive in Gaza, dissecting the enclave and seizing territory to pressure Hamas into releasing more hostages. Let's take a listen to what Netanyahu had to say.
הלאה ברצועת עזה העברנו הילוך. צה"ל תופס שטחים, מכה במחבלים, הורס את התשתיות, ואנחנו עושים דבר נוסף. אנחנו תופסים את ציר מורג. זאת תהיה הפילדלפי השנייה, ציר פילדלפי הנוסף. משום שאנחנו עכשיו מבטרים את הרצועה, ואנחנו מוסיפים את הלחץ צעד אחר צעד, כדי שיתנו לנו את חטופינו. וככל שלא ייתנו, כך הלחץ יגבר, עד שייתנו.
His remarks come as Israeli airstrikes kill 34 people, including a UN building in Jabalia. Israel's defense minister confirmed plans to expand military operations, securing large areas under Israeli control. Here's what Stefan Jurek, spokesperson for the UN Secretary General, had to say.
The Secretary General is shocked by the attacks of the Israeli army on a medical and emergency convoy on March 23rd, resulting in the killings of 15 medical personnel and humanitarian workers in Gaza. Medical personnel and humanitarian emergency workers must be protected by all parties to the conflict at all times, as required by international humanitarian law. Since October 23rd, at least 408 aid workers have been killed in Gaza, and at least 280 of them have been United Nations humanitarian workers. The Secretary General honors all humanitarian workers who've been killed in this conflict and demands a full, thorough, and independent investigation in these incidents.
Meanwhile, Hamas has rejected the latest Israeli truce proposal, accusing Israel of blocking mediator efforts by Egypt and Qatar. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsens as food shortages force bakeries to close, with residents struggling to find bread. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned Israeli attacks on UN facilities, while UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for an independent investigation into recent deaths of emergency responders in Gaza. As international calls for a ceasefire grow, Israel remains focused on its military objectives, with hostilities showing no signs of de-escalation. Over to the African continent now, where according to an activist group, Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces have killed at least 85 people in a week of attacks in the south of Khartoum. The Sudanese Resistance Committee reported the ongoing RSF assaults on villages west of Jebel Avliya, leaving dozens of people injured. The Emergency Lawyers Group said that over 15 villages were targeted, with over hundreds wounded. The RSF, which is led by Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, has been fighting Sudan's army since 2023. Last week, Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan declared Khartoum liberated after fierce battles. Dagalo later acknowledged the RSF had withdrawn from the capital. Despite the army's gains, Sudan remains divided. The military controls the east and the north, while the RSF dominates much of Darfur and parts of the south. The war has created one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, with over 12 million people displaced and famine declared in parts of the country. The UN warns of worsening conditions as violence continues. Elon Musk's social media company X has filed a lawsuit against the Indian government, accusing it of misusing the Sahyog portal to censor content on its platform. X claims the portal grants government officials wide-ranging power to issue takedown orders without following the proper legal procedures, violating India's digital laws. The government defends Sahyog, arguing it is necessary to combat harmful online content and insists it only issues notices rather than blocking orders. X argues that these notices lead to arbitrary censorship. The case follows previous tensions between X and India. including disputes over content removal and a 2022 lawsuit. X's appeal in this case is currently being heard in Kartanyaka's High Court. The lawsuit comes amid Musk's growing business interests with India and with Starlink and Tesla making inroads in the country, potentially giving Musk leverage in his legal battle with the Indian government. All Bimstec leaders are expected to attend this week's summit in Bangkok, but Myanmar junta chief Myinang Clung's participation remains uncertain following an earthquake in the country. A moment of silence has been observed, keeping in mind the victims of the tragedy. The summit, running from April the 2nd to the 4th, brings together leaders from Thailand, Myanmar, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Bhutan. Bimstec focuses on multilateral sectoral cooperation in the Bay of Bengal region. Discussions are expected to cover trade, connectivity and regional security. This meeting comes amid growing economic ties between Bimstec nations and broader efforts to strengthen regional integration. Thailand, as host, aims to push for deeper collaboration across multiple sectors. The Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation is an international organization of 7 South Asian and Southeast Asian nations, housing 1.73 billion people and having a combined gross domestic product of $5.2 trillion. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Bangkok today. NewsX World will bring you an exclusive coverage of the summit. Stay tuned. Well, that's all we have time for.